Okay, so a very brief thing about me is that I have been in the industry for roughly 14 years, working in some MNCs. Right now, I'm a global platform leader at one of the big four consulting companies. So I spend most of my day in understanding what are some of the technologies that are, let's say, critical for an enterprise to get right? So that we don't miss the game and we don't end up doing stuff that really doesn't add a lot of value. And so, for example, when AI agents thing came up, right, one of the things that we would want to do is understand how AI agents can kind of have a bigger role in our industry. So this is just a disclaimer side. So this will be very, let's say, very simple. And for the two of you who have been in my last talk, so there is some overlap. Okay. So just so that you guys know. So so very quickly, we will start with some context setting, an overview of the concept called platforms, and then we'll go to AI agents and some closing thoughts. So this is something that I think some of you might have seen me speak about, right, over time. If you have seen me in the when I speak about things, so if you see, we are getting billions of dollars invested into this thing called GenAI. So if you see this graph in 2024, in the first 3 quarters, we spent more money. Investors pumped in more money into GenAI than last 2022 and 2023. So which are these companies who are getting the most of the money? We know OpenAI. I think everybody here knows OpenAI. We know XAI, Donald Trump's best friend, right? Elon Musk's thing, right? XAI. Safe Super Intelligence is another company which is from Ilya, one of the co-founders. So these are some of the companies who are getting billions of dollars as investment. Why are investors spending so much money into this thing called OpenAI? So if you see this analysis that was done, what we have seen is that if you compare the top 200 SaaS companies with the top 200 AI companies, the top 200 AI companies are making the same revenue in 1/3 of the time. So if you see, a $30 million annualized revenue is being made in 1/3 of the time. So essentially what we are trying to say here, guys, is that AI is growing faster than SaaS based on this. So there is a lot of money being invested in AI and AI is growing at a huge rate. Let's look at OpenAI's poster child, right? GenAI's poster child, OpenAI. So in 2023, OpenAI had a revenue of $1.6 billion. Okay, good. In 2024, in 1 year, that revenue kind of doubled to $3.7 billion. This is like tremendous amount of money we are talking about, right? From 1.6 to 3.7. Just imagine, right? And that too in 1 year. No other industry is seeing this sort of growth. In October 2024, that time, OpenAI closed a valuation of $6.6 billion round, and they was valued at $157 billion at that time. Now there are reports that OpenAI is in talks to secure up to another $40 billion. Just imagine, this is not even $1 million, it's $1 billion we are talking about, with a valuation of roughly $340 billion, which is 1/3 of a trillion. This is the kind of money we are talking about, right? This is like crazy sort of money. So the question is, if investors are pumping in so much money into this thing called GenAI, but are enterprises getting the benefit out of it? So we are seeing all of these startups which are getting a lot of money, valuation is skyrocketing. But when you speak to enterprise CEOs, so this was an CEO survey that was done by PwC. They spoke to roughly 1,500 CEOs, roughly, okay? And they asked them a very simple question. They said, CEO, can you tell me the money you have pumped into GenAI, are you getting the benefit out of it? Did you make an ROI out of it? Very simple question. If you see, only 34% said yes. That means 66% of CEOs are essentially saying, I poured in money, but as of now, I have not got any return on investment. So that's something they're saying, right? Similarly, if you see, 33% of CEOs are saying that I have confidence in GenAI, but that means 67% of CEOs are saying I don't have confidence, essentially, to embed C. So you can see there is this gap. There is some sort of a gap, right? At one point of time, the startups are pouring in so much, getting so much money with so much exaggerated valuation, but at the same time, if you see, the CEOs are reporting. So the enterprise system is much more complicated. Anytime, right? We are much more risk averse. So as a consumer, B2C, let's say chat GPT, right? You go there, you ask something, let's say it gives the wrong answer. What is the worst it will happen? What is the worst it can happen, right? At the end of the day. But the moment you embed that GenAI into your enterprise business, let's say you are using GenAI to file your tax return for your client, and it does something wrong, and now your client has to pay, let's say, $1 billion of fines. So the stakes are much higher, right? Essentially. So this is the AI dilemma, right? Everybody is kind of facing, right? So should I wait? so to speak, see how things are turning out, let the tech stabilize a little bit. But at the same time, if my competitors don't wait, I will lose out on the game, right? Essentially. So this is a dilemma that everybody is doing. So again, section one at a very high level, we know there is a lot of money being pumped into the overall system. But at the same time, we know that enterprises are not getting a lot of benefit out of it, right? These are two things we can say. With this thought process, if we very quickly go to the second part, the second part I will like to introduce to you, maybe some of you are already aware of this concept of a platform. Okay. So what is a platform? A platform is basically something that a company builds internally. So it's not exposed to the client outside. It's something you build internally so that other solutions can build on top of that. So let's say you are all working on some sort of a technology solution, right? Some is writing Java, React, whatever, right? So all of you might need to do observability or logging, right? Everybody want to log, or some of the, let's say all your API calls you want to log somewhere. So you could always write your own thing. You try to understand what is the best logging framework, code it. Obviously an option. So just imagine there are 200 teams in an enterprise, all of them writing their own logging stuff. That is not a very good thing, right? That's not how an enterprise needs to work. Or what you do, you build this thing called a platform. It's an internal platform where you have the logging stuff already handled. So what you do, you just use that part from that platform and do it. So essentially what you are doing, all of your solutions are standing on top of this thing called platform. So this is a concept. Again, this is not very, very important. Just understand that there is this thing concept called a platform. So again, what is the concept of platform engineering? Platform engineering is the concept of building a platform. But very important to understand, a platform is different from the solution that is built on top of the platform. So platform is internal. It is not exposed to a customer. Okay. It is self-service. All developers and engineers are the consumers of a platform. So you have a platform. You, all developers and engineers will use this platform to build a solution or a product, and that product will be used externally. Okay, very important to understand. So if you see, this kind of shows that thought process. So we have this thing called infrastructure. Everything needs infrastructure, right? We need compute, we need network, we need storage. This could be Azure, Google Cloud, AWS, nobody cares, right? So you have this thing called infrastructure platform. On top of this, this is the thing we are calling a platform, a digital platform. So a digital platform is some of reusable components and tools you have kept here. So the observability thing I was talking about, the backup thing, let's say, for example, all of this will be here. If they are here, you don't need people at the top, product and service teams, to think about observability again and again. So most of us will operate at this level. Most of us are building products and solutions for clients or usage, right? For somebody to use it. But there are people in your companies also who might also be building platforms. These are the internal platform teams. So again, very important to understand, we have this team who is building products, who clients are using. Those products are built on top of this thing called a digital platform. That digital platform is an internal platform which is trying to ensure that anything which is reusable, repeatable will be there. Okay. So again, I will not go through this, but this slide, this kind of shows that funnel. Again, same thing, but very important to understand. We have the infrastructure platform. We have this platform engineering team who built this digital platform. Digital platform exposed their stuff. So let's say the observability thing I was talking about, that is here, it is exposed as an API. Now this is where you guys are here. You guys are building, let's say, a payment gateway, or let's say a website. Just an example, let's say you are building a brokerage website. Then you are calling this API from the platform, right? And to build it. And this is what the feature is showing. Again, same concept I'm trying to show in different ways, because this will all make sense when I go to the AI agent thing. Same thing, again, another view, just to reinforce the message. We have the platform managed by the platform team. API has been exposed, and see, these are all of the product teams. So because it's already here, every single product team does not have to build it again and again. So we are saving money for the firm. We are doing something in a reusable manner. Okay, very quick. Why is it important for us to know about platform? It's not just I came here and I just started talking about platforms and you have to listen to me. Gartner is saying this is the fourth important industry trend for 2024. Okay, and why are they saying that to high level? If you see, one of the things that today has happened is, anybody who is an engineer or a developer by trade here, right? Most of us, I think, right here. So if anybody who is doing it, you will see that the level of stuff that we have to keep in our mind now is mind-boggling. So you have to understand Kubernetes, right? You have to understand, let's say, front-end frameworks. Today it's React.js to knock out all of those stuff, right? It's like crazy. Now you're having to understand OpenAI, then telemetry, Yaga, distributed processing. All of this, who is doing? The engineer. Essentially, the cognitive load on an engineer when I started my career 14, 15 years back, we were just coding, man. We just used to get in, just write some code and get out, right? In a sense. But now this observability thing, everything is on the developer or the engineer. So you can see now microservice, Kubernetes, CodeShip, Docker, Terraform, everything we have to understand. So this cognitive load is increasing, and the platform is a way to reduce the cognitive load for your developers. Because some of this stuff you are taking care at the platform level. And if you can take care of it at a platform level, your developers, every single individual developer does not have to do it. So just keep this in mind. And as you can see, it's not that this is very new or something. Out of 1,000 people, just 80 people are saying they have no plans to implement platforms. This is a Google survey done. That means out of 100 people, let's say, just to simplify it, 92 people are already using platforms or trying to use platforms. So if here we have 50 people, let's say in this meetup, or then already most of you are already in some way or the other in a company who is using a platform. It's just that you might not be exposed to it, but there is a platform which is powering all of this. And a good platform takes time. So if you see, most of the leading organizations have dedicated teams who have been working on this thing called a platform for 5 years. So you can reach, if you don't know whether your company has a platform, reach out to your company bosses and say, guys, do we have an internal platform? Most likely you have something. I have been building a platform for my company for the last 3 to 4 years, and it's worth the wait. So once you have the platform, I told you, right? Gartner said it was the fourth most important trend. But why? Just because Gartner is saying, should I just do it, right? I need some proof, right? Because I'm investing time and money in building this infrastructure platform, this digital platform. Why? So if you see, one of the things that they're saying is companies who have successfully adopted this concept of platform engineering are 8 times more likely to be able to release code changes successfully into production within an hour. 8 times more. So this is something just beyond this AI thing and all of that. This is something that is cool. That is something interesting. You should all check this out in one way or the other. This concept of platform engineering, concept of internal platforms. Okay. So I will leave it at that for now. This itself can be, I'm a platform engineering ambassador actually. So I know this, I have been doing this for a long time. But anyways, I just wanted to give you this concept of a platform. So what did we do in section 1? In section 1, we understood that there is a gap. So there is, enterprises are not getting, let's say, the complete ROI from their investment in GenAI. And in section 2, I introduced you to this concept of something called a platform. Again, at a very simple level, it is an internal thing, exposes its functionalities via an API. Solution teams use those APIs to build solutions. Okay, perfect. Now let's go to this thing called AI agents. Again, I will not spend a lot of time here. I think our first speaker kind of explained to you what is this thing called AI agents. Again, it is something that kind of has some, it takes some inputs, provides some outputs, has some context. I hope all of you have some idea about what an AI agent is. So even though an AI agent conceptually seems cool, right? And it's something that we feel that, okay, it's nice. And you take a laptop, you use AutoGen or Creway.ai, and you build your first agent relatively quickly, kind of like the hello world of agents. But the moment you try to deploy something like this to get actual business value for your customers, that is the most important thing, right? We need to ensure that this thing makes us money as a company. If something doesn't make us money consistently, then we cannot continue it, right? That's why if you see, the enterprise CEOs are now getting kind of frustrated to some extent, right? Because they're not making money out of their investment. So we need to do something differently. So we need to think, what are some of the ways we can embed this thing called agentic AI into our enterprise with only one value? What is the thing that we should keep in mind? This agents needs to bring us money at the end of the day. That money could be actual money, or it could be savings as well. Somehow it will save our time. That is also equivalent to money, right? So one of the things that is very important, this is something that MIT people did, right? So what they're trying to do, they're trying to create a repository of all agents in the world. Every single person who has built an agent in production, deployed it somewhere, these MIT people are saying, guys, let's create an inventory of all agents in the world. This is the actual MIT AI agent index. Today, it has 69 AI agents. In future, they will keep on adding more and more AI agents to it, right? So, as you can understand, before using something, what you need to do, you need to first know it is available. So, let's say if you did not know this meetup was happening, how will you attend it, so to speak, right? So, first thing is, if you ask me, how do I gain knowledge in Bangalore? I'll first say, okay, let's go to a site where I can see all of the meetups, man. Then I can choose which meetup will help me, right? For my own stuff. So, if you see, these are all of the AI agents that they have listed, everything curated. And if anybody here has done ML, I think Shubham knows. So, there's this thing called ML card, model card. So, a model card is nothing but it describes a model. So, these guys have introduced this concept of a AI agent card. So a AI agent card is kind of like our PAN card. So it identifies an agent uniquely. It has all of the attributes that you need to know about an agent. So what that says? It has basic information like a website, short description, who is the developer, right? What are the system components? What are the guardrails? You can see just by reading this, you now have a very good idea about what this agent can do, who built it, what was the data that it was tested on, a very comprehensive sort of a view on that agent. So now think you are in a big company. Let's say somebody is in Infosys. What if you could build something like this in Infosys so that there is something called Infosys AI agent index. So everybody in Infosys who has built an AI agent will put their AI agent listed here. So that the next time you try to build something, you will first come here and see if already anybody has built it. Number one. If somebody has built it, you will not build it. You will reuse it. Try to use it, right? And if somebody has not built it, you will build it and then put it there. Okay? And this is something that should be part of what? The platform. Okay, so this is how, that's why I introduced you to this concept of a platform. So whenever you think of something that should be used by many people in your organization, think, okay, can it be done at the platform layer? Because that's a shared reusable layer. So by itself, just this concept of this AI agent index, you have no idea how powerful it is in a big enterprise. Because in a big enterprise, people don't know. You might not even know the person sitting beside you is building the same software that you are building. You are building a chatbot kind of thing. He is also building the same thing and you have no idea. But if everybody use something like this is happening at a world level. This is happening at a MIT public level. But obviously our private agents will not be here, right? Any time, because those are our IP. We will not want it here. But every company can think of building something like this internal. This is what we are doing at the company that I work for as part of the platform. Okay. So this is one concept called AI agent index. So I showed you the same thing. This is the AI agent. They have roughly 69 agents now, and they will keep on adding. And this is the agent card concept. So this is something like our PAN card, voter card, passport. So this is like the agent's passport. So it tells everything that you need to know about the agent. This is very important so that you can decide whether you can use it or not. Right? Otherwise, how will you know, right? If there are so many agents. Sample agent card for the AI agent. Okay, perfect. So this is one thing. So this was the level one. What was level one? I am just listing all of the agents in my company. I'm not doing anything with it. But the second level is this concept of an agent marketplace. So the same concept to some extent, you again have an inventory of all agents, but now you are starting to consume those agents directly from there. So in the past one, what was happening? You see the agent, you cannot consume it from there. You see the developer's name, you call him and say, man, I saw your agent. Can I use it? What is the process to use it, for example, right? But here we are taking it a level further. We are creating this concept of an agent marketplace. Again, this is something we are working on and many companies are working on. Internally, within an enterprise, also people are thinking about these things. And externally, HubSpot, right? One of the CRMs, and Dharmesh Shah is the CTO and founder. He has created this thing called agent.ai. So they call it the professional network for AI agents. Okay. So these are all agents mostly tied to HubSpot in some way or the other to use it, kind of like their network. So if you see, these are all featured agents. So this is, for example, let's say I want to use HubSpot. So HubSpot is a CRM. Forget about it. Don't think about HubSpot. It's just a company. So what they're essentially doing, guys, they've kept all of these agents. So it's an agent index. So I now know the agent, obviously, but I can also consume that agent. I can also use that agent. If I click on Go and I have a HubSpot account, I can actually start consuming that agent and I can also start building agents and publishing there. Okay, so this is a marketplace. See, so many agents are there. Every day people are building, see, video script generator, right? So many agents are there. For example, Shubham was showing us a code reviewer agent, I think, right? As a kind of like the reflection pattern. You can build that and put it here as an example. Obviously, there will be some governance process. Otherwise, this will be a mess. But just think about this idea. Again, this is happening in the public space. Now think, can we do it at Infosys? Can we do it at TCS? So first step was just listing out the agents. No consumption, nothing. Just a simple list, kind of like an Excel of all agents. Second step is directly from there, we are now consuming agents. So now that simple inventory has evolved to this concept of an agent marketplace. Okay. So this was the second step. So these are all things that you will have to think of when you are thinking of agents at an enterprise scale. Again, this is very important, guys. Creating an agent on your laptop, playing around with it is one thing which is very important, obviously, but this is one level. But this is the high stakes, right? This is where you are using agents to power your digital transformation across a 450,000 employee organization. Right. So at this level, you need some of this stuff. Otherwise, you will never be able to be successful at an enterprise level. Okay. So again, another example, we all know Salesforce Agent Force, right? They are making a lot of news with this. Same sort of a concept. There's a list of agents. As you can see, you can say what is an agent's role, some of the trusted data that that agent will use, some of the actions that that agent can fill, guardrails you can put, and then you can create your own agent. Again, it will work in the context of your Salesforce data. So it has all of the connectors with Salesforce. So very quickly, any company who is using Salesforce as their CRM, anybody who is using Salesforce as CRM now can very quickly create an agent, put it on the Salesforce Agent Force marketplace, and consume from there. Okay. So we discussed two concepts. We discussed one concept of having a catalog of all agents without any consumption, which was the MIT thing. And now we discuss this concept of having a marketplace for agents. But the moment you think about marketplace, the cost comes, what is the cost? So then you get into this business of agent monetization, right? So how do I price my agents, right? Till now, we used to price software, right? We used to say, okay, how pricing used to work? Pricing used to work, like say SaaS software. Like if you buy a SaaS software, you will say, okay, I need 200 licenses, right? One license costs 500 rupees. 200 licenses cost, let's say, 10,000 rupees. You give 10,000 rupees, you will get 200 licenses for a year. That's how SaaS used to work at a very high level, right? But now we need to think about how will we monetize our agents. Again, just see that you are moving up the stack. First level was POC, you are doing on your laptop. Second level, you just said, okay, I will not monetize, I will not do anything. I will just list them in a single place. Third level, I said, okay, I will consume from there, but everything is free. Fourth level, I am saying, no, I cannot give everything for free. I want to make money out of my agents. Again, very important at an enterprise level because things are not free, right? Compute is not free, storage is not free, our effort is not free. So if we don't make money out of those AI agents, people will stop building AI agents, right? So if you see in agent monetization today, SaaS, AI SaaS is the maximum, if you see, the maximum growth is for AI SaaS sort of applications, any sort of applications which is embedded with AI. So what are the different agent pricing models? Again, this is all common sense, right? This is not very complicated. So what was the traditional model? You can always do your stuff in a traditional model. You can say, okay, one agent, entire year, I will give you the agent, I will give you the license to use the agent. It will cost me $10,000 per year. That is one. So that is the traditional seat-based flat rate, right? That was one model. So you can do that. You can say one agent will cost you $10,000. But what is the problem there? The problem is, let's say that agent consumes a lot of tokens, but I will still only get $10,000. I will not get more, right? So my cost can be more. My cost might be $50,000, but I have only charging $10,000. So this model, this traditional model was okay with SaaS applications. But in AI or agentic AI-based applications, there is a problem with this sort of a model because you don't control the number of prompts and the number of tokens, right? It can be any number of tokens and you pay by a token. So if you use more tokens, then you get a little bit complicated. Then you go, okay, I will not do this. Let's do consumption-based. Consumption-based means what? I say, okay, I am giving you the agent. If you use 100 tokens, I will ask you to pay for the token cost and I will take a 5% extra. That is my charge. That is my effort to build the agent. I build the agent, I tested the agent, I put so much effort, I will make money in that way. So that's a consumption based agent. So consumption based agent is how it's making money. It is making money based on the consumption of tokens. So how much token I have consumed at an agent level plus that markup. But the most important thing, this is the game changer, is outcome based agent. Some people are going with this. Outcome based agent is saying, I will only charge you if my agent has been able to do the work successfully. So let's take an example of a booking agent. Okay. So you are saying every successful booking, you will pay me $10,000. If my agent is not able to book for you, I will not charge you anything. Okay. So this is the third, and this is very complex to implement, but this is where the world is trying to go to. So we as an enterprise should think about these things at least, right? So should I charge my agents? Because now I have a marketplace. I have created them, but now how do I monetize my agent? So I have to think, okay, should I do a traditional model? Should I do a consumption-based model? Or should I do an outcome-based model? Okay. There's this concept with all of this is this concept of a value generated per token. So this is very important. This is called VPT. So what this means essentially, guys, is that, as I said, right? Am I generating any value? Is my AI agent actually achieving an outcome? Or am I wasting your tokens, basically? So if I have created this calendar scheduling agent that he was showing, right? Has it been successfully able to schedule my meeting or cancel my meeting? If yes, then only I have generated value and then I will charge you for that value. So this is the concept of value per token, which is aligned with this outcome-based pricing. This I will skip. So three things we did, right? So what we did, we said, guys, agents are complex, maybe simple when we are doing it in a laptop, but now it's complex. So we have done an inventory, number one. Then we moved to phase two, which was a marketplace. Phase three, we monetize those agents, right? Very nice. But now the concept is, we will need so many agents, but then how does the enterprise build agents, deploy agents, monitor agents at scale? How do you do it, right? Now, let's say your company has 25,000 agents. Everything is on that marketplace. Everything has a monetization model. But how do you monitor if that agent, somebody was asking, right? What happens if that agent fails? How do you know it failed? Right? What happens if the memory is not persisting between two agent calls? So how do you manage an agent end to end? So this is where this concept of an AI agent factory comes. So an AI agent factory concept, this is now kind of every single enterprise today is thinking about this in a very, very serious way. So the AI agent factory is a concept which will create, deploy and manage AI agents at scale. Now, how will it do that? So it will use this concept of a AMP, agent management platform. Okay. So this is your kind of, not your traditional thing. This is a elevated concept that has come in this Gen AI, agentic AI era. This is the concept of, you have this new sort of a control plane, and this control plane helps you understand which agent called what agent, when did that agent fail, how do I do the retry. So all of those things will be handled by this agent management platform. Again, this is very important at an enterprise scale, because if you have 25,000, 30,000 agents, you cannot just debug every agent individually, right? That doesn't work in that way. So again, this is, I will skip this slide for a second because in the interest of time. So this is a typical architecture, which is basically followed in sort of a agent management platform. So if you see, this is the marketplace. We have a lot of agents. I am going there, I'm clicking on an agent. You see, this is the orchestration layer. It is also called an agent operating system, AgentOS. Again, we don't have to get into a lot of this. This is stuff you can always Google and search and build yourself. But the concept is important. If you can take something out of this sort of meetups, it's important to take the concepts back so that then you can R&D and research on top of that, right? Because a meetup by itself will not be able to solve everything. So think in this way, that I needed an agent marketplace. Very nice, I had it. I needed to monetize my agents to make money. I did that. But now I need an agent management platform to manage my agents. So something I need to manage the agents. Again, this is a platform-centric approach. So all of these things, guys, that I'm talking about, they need to be done at that platform level. You cannot expect every single team in your company to build and maintain their own agent management platform. That will not work. Centrally, somebody needs to build and manage this agent management platform, which will have everything. It will have the agent framework. It will have the agent memory management functionality. It will have an agent orchestrator, intelligent agent orchestrator, which can tell which agent to be executed after which in a workflow. The compute, the agent building configuration. All of this is part of the agent management platform. You build and manage agents using that platform. You host it on the agent marketplace, people consume it. Simple, right? Again, simple means not very simple, obviously, when you try to implement it at scale, but this is a concept. Okay. This is an industry example. This is something that many people are doing. So just search agent management platform, AI agent factory. You will see the industry has already moved to those kind of thought processes. So while we are doing POCs and kind of playing around with agents, right? The industry is already thinking, okay, if this thing really becomes as powerful as we think it would be, how do we manage it at scale? Right? Because that's a different sort of a problem. Okay, this was a section 3. Very quickly, we said that the 2025 is the year of the AI agent. Everybody's saying that. Very nice. We know AI agents can do some very cool stuff, but do we have the capability within the enterprise to manage AI agents at scale? What do we need? 4 things I have shown here. There are many other things. We need a catalog of all the agents that is being used in the enterprise. We want to be able to have an agent marketplace. We want to have the concept of monetization of the agents. And finally, we also want to ensure that we have an agent management platform which can manage those agents. Some closing thoughts. Okay, again, some of this would be common. So, see what is happening, right? I mean, while we are here playing around with, okay, will the AI agent be cool? Will AI agents really, is it hype? Is it not hype? But while we are doing that, the industry is not waiting for us. The industry has actually moved. So if you just see the rate at which it is moving, 2023 first half they released GPT-4. Already now 3 mini reasoning models have come. Tomorrow something else will come, right? DeepSeek came, everything kind of like, it's like happening at such a completely expedited pace. So we have to be agile. So we have to think ahead. We have to think, okay, if this AI agent thing really captures the audience as much as it has today, is really so powerful, then how can I manage it at an enterprise scale? Secondly, if you see, 2 things are happening. The models are becoming kind of like magnitude of times cheaper. So if you see in 2 years, OpenAI has decreased their token cost 150 times. Huge decrease in the token cost, right? So stuff which was very, very expensive to do in 2023 is becoming very cheap. Because one of the things you will see, right? People will tell you, agent will not work because it consumes so many tokens. Because every time an agent is talking to another agent, essentially it's tokens, right? Tokens going from one agent to another, tokens coming back. But essentially, if the token price is so cheap, do we really care? Even if an agent uses 1 million token every day, do we really care? So over time, what we will see, hopefully, this trend will go down. Every year, even if the cost decreases 10 times, just imagine you can do 10 times more with that same money. Essentially, right? If the cost decreases 10 times, you are going to do 10 times more thing. This is the second thing. Third thing, as I said, brace for an agentic enterprise. This is coming, guys. So again, based on our analysis, based on talking with some of the leading strategy firms around the world, like Gartner, BCG, what we have understood, again, this I'm telling stuff that I'm doing at my company, we have understand that they are all saying that this thing called agentic AI is here to stay and disrupt the industry. This is kind of everybody saying the same thing, right? This is not like your metaverse hype. Everybody said metaverse will change the world, then nothing happened in that way. Blockchain. People are saying, no, this is not the same thing. This is something much more real. And you guys also feel it, right? Where every time you work with ChatGPT, you feel that this is something different. With metaverse and blockchain, none of us felt like that. But with generative AI, and obviously with AI agents, some of the cool stuff that now those guys are doing. And as I said, right, most of the problems that today are happening with agentic AI, AI agents, LLMs, over time they're getting better and better. DeepSeek did such innovations, right? So the cost came around so much less. So over time, you will see everything will happen in that way. And we were today, right now, in this 2025 kind of a time zone. So this agent things is really kind of hyping up. And the last thing is be future ready. So this is a nice quote that I always try to follow. Even within my team, I approach this. Our industry does not respect tradition. It only respects innovation. So agentic AI is trying to disrupt our industry, right? As individuals, we need to be aware of it. Obviously, we need to do POCs and stuff on our own laptop to learn about LangChain, LangGraph, all of that. But at the same time, think about how can this bring value for my CEO? How do I implement what I have done in my laptop at a scale? How do I solve this problem at scale? If you can solve this agentic AI problem at scale for your enterprise, then obviously we are kind of in a good situation. Perfect. Thank you so much.